Hi, I'm Paul Lazarowicz, and welcome to this edition of Cranberry Country Journal. You know, since 1993, it's a long time ago, I've been hosting this program, and the purpose is to provide a little slice of life of the people, places, and activities that make the Cranberry Country area very special. And we are in a very special place with some special guests. In our opening segment, you're going to learn about the Masons, and particularly some of the events here at the Masonic Lodge in Middleborough, right across from Town Hall. We'll meet with Bill Zablowski and also Ken Madigan. And in our closing segment, if you have that great American novel still waiting in your desk, you're going to find out maybe how you might be able to self-publish it. And we'll learn a little bit more about the books written by local author Tom Serignano from Lakeville resident. Nice guy, and read his books. We'll have that and a little bit more as Cranberry Country Journal continues right after this, so don't go away. Welcome back to Cranberry Country Journal, and I'm delighted to be here in this beautiful white Southern-style mansion with these two handsome gentlemen in tuxedo. We're in the Horatio Barrows house, which was built back in the 1800s, and however, it's better known today as the Mayflower Masonic Lodge here in Middleborough. You know, that beautiful building right across from Town Hall. And joining us for this segment, we have two faces and names that are well known, particularly in the Middleborough community, for all the community work. We have Bill Zablowski and Ken Madigan. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Paul.
I have to ask right off the bat, now you make me feel badly. I didn't put my tuxedo or suit on. Why tuxedos? And I see a lot of photos of when the Masons meet. They're wearing the tux.
Yeah, it's their uniform of an officer, okay. And usually either whether it's from the lowest officer being inside sentinel or the highest officer being the worshipful master. They usually wear tuxedos most of the time, unless the worshipful master says business casual. But most of the time when we have candidates coming through, we always wear tuxedos. Mm-hmm. And past masters wear tuxedos too.
Yeah, most of the pictures you see in public will show the gentleman wearing
Correct.
it. So
yep.
I thought let's start right at the beginning, and Bill, I'll pose the question to you right away, and Kenny just chime in. But as a past master, tell us a little bit about, and there's a lot of misconceptions. What are the Masons all about? You hear secret organizations, religious organizations.
Well, don't believe everything you see or read on the internet.
Okay.
It's mainly it's a gentleman's club. It's a group of men who get together and do a lot of community service, a lot of charity work. We consider it a nonprofit, and we donate to nonprofits. So we're constantly looking for charities to donate. We have several events that we raise money for, and it's just put back into the fund, and then we use it for charity. For instance, Middleborough softball, they support us, we support them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We've done the Stacy Leroy Foundation, we've done events for them.
Yep.
And we have events coming up all the time, so we're constantly looking for new charities, preferably the nonprofit, to work for. And mm-hmm. Like I said, we get a bunch of guys together, and it could be anything from, serving a meal, which yep. we do every month for breakfast, mm-hmm. and we have, make a generous donations to nonprofits.
Now, and Kenny, I'll address this one to you. There's at least I'm with it. Maybe it's a misconception, but you need to be asked to join the Masons. Tell me about the process of joining. How does one become a Mason?
Well, I would think that back in the old days, you would have to approach a Mason and ask him to be a Mason.
Okay.
I think, as Bill says, that it's a little more relaxed. It's a friendly place, a bunch of brothers together, friends that want to be better people, better to yourself and better to others. Mm-hmm. And if they wish to join, they should approach someone that is in the lodge, mm-hmm. or a member of the lodge, to start the cycle, so to speak. Yep. Because it is a 3 or 4 month process.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask about that process. What's involved in that process, Bill?
Well, each person that wants to join has to be sponsored by an actual Mason. Mm-hmm. Again, we just don't take anybody off the street. They have mm-hmm. to be qualified.
Sure.
So there's a process, a step and entering. You just don't pay your dues or pay the money and sign this form. And there's ways, there's things that we do in the lodge. We meet once a month, and there's things that we do just to qualify the guy. Sometimes some of them will start with the first step, and we don't see them. I mean, some people are just curious.
How many steps are there?
There's 3 steps.
3 steps, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every person, every man in this room goes through the 3 steps. So as far as
can you tell us about the 3 steps? Is that
well, it's kind of a ritual.
Sure.
It's kind of like it's similar to other organizations, but it's just like you're not one and done. It takes several months to get in, and everybody's been through the same process. So we don't discriminate as far as if there's a lawyer or a doctor or anybody that's supposedly higher up. You could be a ditch digger, you could be an auto mechanic, you could be everybody's on the same level. Yeah. That's correct. And it's a very interesting organization if you like the history. I love the history. That's the reason why I joined. And you meet a lot of nice people. Plus, we travel a lot to different other lodges too, and they're welcome to us, to our lodge. So,
no, but it's not that type of a lodge or an organization where you come in and you sit at the bar every night. It's a different type of.
Yeah, it's not a drinking establishment.
Okay.
It's not like and I'm a member of the Elks. It's not an Elks. It's not there are libations once in a while for special occasions.
I understand, yeah.
But there's no constant bar. There's no alcohol premises because we do support the DMLA, the young boys and men coming up, and hopefully they'll join the organization. They're going through the qualifications as a younger person, and also there's the Rainbow Girls who we support.
Oh, sure.
And I'm also Order of Eastern Star, which are the women and the older people. I'm getting old.
Yeah, so. We're all getting there, Bill. So, I reminded folks we're speaking with Ken Madigan and also speaking with Bill Zablowski. Bill is the past master, and Ken's title is the organist. Ken, I didn't know you played organ.
Yeah, I tried to.
Okay.
When I joined, they did not have an organist at the time, and that seemed to be my place of a good feeling. And I think it's very important for a lodge, if they can, is to have music during the ritual and during the beginning and the end of the program. That's here at the lodge.
And you're also inside Sentinel, so
yeah. Well, I'm starting the offices, working your way up. It's a ladder type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to ask both of you. There might be some men watching the show now, and they're thinking, "I'd like to join," but many individuals work in Boston. They get home late, or they're afraid of a commitment. Is this going to be 5 days a week? What type of commitment do you have to provide to be a member in good standing?
It all depends on what you want to put into it. We have a regular meeting the first Tuesday of every month, which all the offices are required to attend, and we get other visitors from other towns and other states, and so it's once a month, and then it's Ken Madigan and Barry Standish. They've been all over Massachusetts. They've been all over the place. I mean, they go in. I don't even know how many places.
We travel a lot of towns. We see a lot of lodges. We meet a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel comfortable going.
Yeah.
I feel going out to other lodges is important to stretch out and see how their lodges run, see how their meetings are run, see what they're doing for activities and stuff. They bring that all new stuff back to the lodge to keep ours vital. And
it's all what you want to put into it. We have activities all the time. Every time you turn around, there's an activity. I mean, you can literally go out to a lodge every night.
Yeah.
Every night, and you see these different towns as they're posted on street signs and so forth. Each lodge has. Sometimes it's the same nights we have it, but sometimes they're on different nights.
And you're always welcome to join those.
Definitely.
Yes. Too. We'll talk about some of those events in a minute. And folks, in terms of commitment, I guess there has to be a commitment. But on the other hand, you two are so actively involved in other activities, selling Christmas trees every winter. We see Bill and buy a tree, and Ken's got the softball and the breeding programs and everything else. So you do find that time for it.
Oh, yeah.
you have to find the time for it. Now, we have very understanding wives.
Yeah.
Debbie and my wife Diane, and I think they give us the opportunity as well to take some time out to go to other lodges and meet other brothers.
Let me throw this question at you. I know when you go onto the website, you'll see that one of the sort of the tenets of the Masons is to make good men better. How have you two become better men as a result of being members here in the Mayflower Masonic?
Well, you get to meet a lot of nice people. You get to meet a lot of nice men. And again, there's other events out there where husbands and wives are invited, so you get to meet a lot of nice people, and it, you know, it kind of, it's...
Is it through the fellowship and the charity?
Exactly, through the fellowship. It is, you know, you take an oath when you come in, and it's some of those things, they stick with you, and it's all in what you make it. But I've never met a dishonest Mason, never ever. I mean, I've been in, I don't know how many years I've been in, Ken's been in the same amount of time, but you never meet a dishonest Mason. And always, we reach out, we kind of, I won't say networking, but I would hire a Mason before I hired anybody else, because if they believe in the same thing that I'm believing in as far as this organization,
Basic tenets that guide you
exactly.
in your everyday life.
Yep.
We're a reminder, folks, we're at the Horatio Barrows House here in Middleborough, downtown Middleborough, but you'll know it better as the Mayflower Masonic Lodge. And I know you have a celebration, and one of the things we want to talk about, 150 years. Tell us about that.
Well, it started probably over a year ago anyways, that we were realizing here that we were turning 150 years old. And there are 7 other lodges in the state of Massachusetts that are also turning 150 years old. So that's kind of where it started. We set up a committee, and way before this year started, was last year, we decided that we wanted some things being done during our Masonic year, which is from September of last year through this year to the end of September. And there are a lot of activities going on.
So let's hear about some of those activities. I know you've got a list there.
Well,
how about the ones that are open to the public?
The ones that are open to the public.
Yeah.
The first one open to the public is on March 29th. It's called Make a Fool of Yourself Night. And all the proceeds are donated to a local charity. I believe this year it's Lakeville Lacrosse. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's what it is. Ed Croft, who's our district awareness officer, is in charge of it, and it's basically karaoke. And for the past, I believe, 3 to 4 years, it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we really have some talent within the Masonic family, but the public's invited. I believe it's $15. Is it $15 a person? I think it's either $10 or $15 a person.
Yep.
And there's a pasta dinner, and it's put on by, like I said, all the proceeds are put on, and it's phenomenal. It is a very good night.
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
6:00.
Yeah, 6 to 11, I believe, and it's very, very. I attended last year. I didn't get up to sing, but I attended, and there was some very good singers. So it's well worth it, I believe.
Before you tell us about the next event, if there's someone that's watching the show now that wants to find out more about it, is there a telephone number or website, way to contact you folks?
Definitely.
Well, give us the phone number that people could use.
Well, the phone number here is 508-947-3579.
Okay.
There is no answering machine, but if you called on the Tuesday evening, or even some of the weekend, part of the weekend, you're more than likely to get somebody here.
And then at massmasons.org, or you go into the Grand Lodge website, excuse me, and all the lodges are listed, or you can look up a lodge under search, just punch in Middleborough, and it'll bring us to Mayflower Lodge. We do have a website, and we do have a Facebook page. You can instant message us on the Facebook page. And most of the time, even on the Grand Lodge page, you can inquire about admission as far as one of the lodges. So
Yeah, I've visited the site and then visiting your site. You even listed your offices. So I recognize quite a few names from the folks in Middleborough.
we have a young group coming up. So
it's all ages.
It's all ages. I mean, we have a gentleman here. I believe he's 90. And we have men here who have been in the organization for more than 50 years. And they're here for support as well as the younger ones too. So it's pretty interesting.
How about a couple more of those events that are coming up, because we're coming up on time here?
Well, open to the public?
Yeah.
I would say May 17, which is our one and only 150th anniversary of Mayflower Masonic Lodge's Antique Classic Auto Show.
Oh, where?
It's gonna be right at the town hall, right across the street.
Will your car be there?
My car will be there.
Okay.
It's, we're looking for 150 antique cars. If anyone is interested in getting information about it, please just email me at kmadigan@comcast.net, and I'd be more than happy to send you a flyer on it as well. We'll have dash plaques, we'll have food, we'll have DJ for music, we'll have trivia going all day, and trophies for the winners for the cars.
And how about the June event, Ted Williams?
Yeah, the June event, it's also open to the public. It's a dinner dance.
Yep.
We procured the Ted Williams camp, and we plan to have a chicken barbecue / hot and cold buffet, dancing all night. It is open to the public. It's $15 per person or $25 a couple, and we plan to have well over 100 people there, well over 150 people. So we rented the big hall, the new hall, and they just renovated it, so it's very, very nice.
And then the other event I have to, first I want to thank you because I know you're doing it because that's my birthday, July 12th, so thank you for the celebration.
No
But what's truly going on that day, guys?
Yeah, we try to get the lodge, all the brothers and their families together, the kids, and we're going to have a family picnic here on the grounds. So we'll probably rent get a jumpy house and things like that. So, and most of the time, it's a no charge thing for us. So, it's again, the financial obligation, if you're thinking about joining, it's very, very minimal. I mean, it's the dues that are due every year. They're well worth it. I mean, there's no, it's not outrageous, but it's well worth it.
But people can find out more about that once they
Sure, exactly.
Exactly. We're coming up on time, and a reminder, folks, we're speaking with Bill Zablowski and Ken Madigan. Bill is the past master, and Ken is the organist, and the other title,
Inside Sentinel.
Inside Sentinel.
That would be the first step in going through the offices
to
the
eventually
top.
to the top. Good.
7 years it takes to go to the master.
Yeah, it does.
To be patient. Well, it sounds like you're having some fun here too. For those who may think it's all seriousness, there is that aspect of it too. But obviously, you're having some fun too. So, just lastly, before we go, the telephone number where folks can contact and leave a message here.
I would probably suggest even using my own phone number, which is 947-8940. And I do have a machine that'll pick up, and you can leave whatever message you like.
Ken Madigan, Bill Zablowski, thanks so much.
Paul, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back a little bit more Cranberry Country Journal right after this. And if you ever thought that maybe you've got that great American novel sitting in your desk or want to find out about self-publishing, we're going to speak with a noted local author, Mr. Tom Seragnano has stopped by, and we'll be speaking with Tom right after this, so don't go away.
You can say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read.
So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child.
So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time.
One book can be the first thing helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome back to Cranberry Country Journal. I hope you enjoyed our opening segment with Bill Zablowski and Ken Madigan, representatives of the Masons Lodge here in Middleborough, Massachusetts. And joining me now is a local author, self-published author, friend and all-around good guy, Mr. Tom Seragnano from Lakeville. Tom, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. It's always good when salt and pepper gets together.
That's right. I thought you were going to say something else, but okay. Folks, I've had the opportunity and the pleasure of speaking to Tom about his two books, The Constant Outsider and 69 Cents. And they were set in Boston during the turbulent times of the 70s, the aura of Whitey Bulger, forever present, a time of busing and drugs, and you lived those times.
I did.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about 69 cents, then we'll go back in time, because The Constant Outsider was...
Inflation, it's actually 67 cents.
67, I'm sorry, why did I say 69? It's 67 cents. I'm glad you're here.
I'm not going to mention anything.
Okay,
no.
okay, well. Tom's first book, The Constant Outsider, I'm still waiting for the movie to be made because it will be a great movie, and Tom has promised me a part in it. So, but no, seriously, 67 cents is sort of the real make-believe follow-up to your real-life story in The Constant Outsider. Give us a little bit about, I guess, Constant Outsider.
Well, just real
first.
quick, because I know we want to talk about self-publishing.
That's okay. Let's hear about the books.
This is actually a true memoir.
Yep.
The Constant Outsider. Memoirs of a South Boston Mechanic, and 67 Cents is a fictional version that I'm actually recording as an audiobook right now. And you'll see a lot of similarities between the two books, but Nick's life takes a different twist than Tom's life did. And it ends up being quite a bit more exciting.
Can you say the Constant Outsider is the good Tom?
Yeah.
And 67 Cents is the bad
Yeah.
Tom? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to give away the ending because Tom would be upset. He didn't want to be surprised anyway, though. Before we talk about self-publishing, like what got you to write 2 books? Everyone we talk to talks about, I'm going to write a book one of these days.
Well,
You did it.
I think everybody is a book waiting to be written, to be honest with you. I know you have a story to tell. Everybody in this world, nobody lived the same life as somebody else. And my book really encourages people to write their story. So I'm glad that you're doing this segment on self-publishing, because people think that it's very difficult or impossible to get into. Today, it's amazing what you can do.
But even before that, Tom, you've got to sit down and write and type.
Yeah.
Aren't there those days where like, oh, what am I going to write about?
Well, that's
Writer's
why,
block.
that's one of the things I was going to cover was when you decide you want to write a story or a book about your life or whatever, what I would do is start taking notes. And it doesn't have to be in a notebook or anything, but I might be at a restaurant and all of a sudden something comes to me that says that should be in my book. That would be, something people would want to hear about.
Yep.
I would just jot a little note on a napkin or something and come home and throw it in this either shoebox or an envelope. And believe it or not, over a period of years, to tell you the truth,
Yeah.
you have a stack of notes like this, and then you have to start compiling it together to see what order you want to put it in and things like that. So
And how about writing dialogue? You hear that as being the most difficult part for many folks.
it's difficult unless you're writing about something you know, and that's one thing I would encourage anybody that's going to write a book, to write about something that you're very familiar with, because it comes to you easily. I mean, I know the dialogue of South Boston
Because you're
hoodlums
living-
and the things we talked about,
Yeah.
and because it was a day-to-day experience. I can relive those days and just document the stories.
So if you live it, you could write it.
Live it and write it. Yeah.
We're speaking with Tom Sirignano, who's the author of 2 books, Constant Outsider and 67 Cents. It hasn't gone up with inflation
I'm
yet.
sorry, I
And,
caught you on that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm glad you did. And tell us about the audiobook.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about it. The first book came out in audio in October, and it's already doing fairly well. I'm very happy with the sales on it.
In your voice.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
did it
beauty of
myself.
I think people want to hear the author.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not a professional voice, but the publisher that puts the book out, Audacity, well not Audacity, ACX is the company. It's an Amazon company that does it. And this is something that self-published people can also do.
So let's get into self-publishing then, okay? So here it is. I've gone through the shoebox stack full of notes. I'm at the point where I've been typing away on my computer. I got a book. What do you do?
I know what your question is going to be. How do you find somebody to publish it?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Well, I'm not a young man. I couldn't sit around for 20 years sending out what they call query letters to publishers and agents, because apparently that's the route that most authors used to go before the digital age. And now, I sat down one day and I said, I'm not going to do this. I've read the horror stories about people sending out 200, 300 copies of their manuscript, and always rejection, because they're unknown authors. So,
Not because of the quality of the book,
No,
but because, again, they're just not known.
your name is not known.
Yeah.
So I decided, why should I let my success be sitting in somebody else's desk? When today you have several companies that will publish a book for you for a very reasonable amount of money. And some are actually free. I mean, if you actually go through Amazon.com, there's a create space option for you that will allow you to actually publish your book. It has to be a quality. They have quality standards. I mean, they're not gonna publish junk. It has to be of a certain standard, and they will actually publish it. It'll come out in a book, very much like this. I didn't go that route.
Yep.
I went through some independent self-pay publisher companies. One was Ex Libris.
So how did that differ from the Amazon process?
Well, I think what the difference is, there might be differences in where the book is marketed.
Okay.
I'm not really quite sure.
That was a question I was going to ask you too, but let's just go back a second. So you've contacted the independent publisher.
Yeah.
Do they ask you what genre it is? Do they ask for so many words?
You mean like the major publishing houses?
No, even the independent publishers.
They don't really care what it's about,
Okay.
as long as it's quality work.
Yep.
I mean, it can be fiction, it can be children's books, which are very big if you like to write children's books. But what I did was, the internet is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You can explore the reputation of every company that does self-publishing. And at the time, Ex Libris had a wonderful reputation compared to some of the other ones that I saw.
Yep.
And so I went with them with the first book. Now, since then, like in our corporate America, they've been bought out by another company that was in the publishing business. And since then, I think their quality has gone down.
Okay.
Now there's another company called Infinity. And
That's who published the 67th.
yeah, that was the second book. And Infinity, I think, did a fantastic job. There were some places where they could improve too, to be honest with you.
Well, let's go back in the process. You've got that book. Do you upload your files to them?
First, you have to get it in the format that they require.
Okay.
And every publisher will have a little booklet that they can send you that'll tell you exactly step by step. If you're good at following directions, that's all you have to be. And they'll tell you what the margins need to be and what the setup is. And
So they'll tell you the font size, and margins.
yeah, you pretty much have a say what kind of font you want. They're pretty lenient with that.
Yep.
Liberal.
And you dictate how many pages it has to be. All right. And how about the good stuff? Any pictures, the visuals, and even the cover? How
I've got
does that?
tons of pictures. This picture is a picture I took at Castle Island one morning when I was waiting to go to work. And for years I loved it, and I said,
Yeah.
wow, now I can actually do something with it. And then, of course, this is a picture I took also. So,
Nice picture. Though.
yeah, if you're artistically inclined, or you think you are, like I am, you
Right, you
you
are.
can do it.
So you'll even send them what you want the cover to look like.
Yeah.
And even the notations on the back. So
Yeah, I told them what print to put on the front. And, you know, they may make suggestions.
Now, are you limited to the number of copies that? Is there a minimum, X amount of copies you have to print? How does it work?
A lot of these companies are what they call print-on-demand companies.
Okay.
And Amazon might keep a small stock of all these books if they know they're selling one or two here and there. But they can order 10 and have them there in 3 or 4 days. That's amazing today.
Yeah, not like the old days where they had the stock of thousands of books. You had to
Yeah.
wait. If they ran out, they had to get restocked.
And there are publishers that you still have to do that. You have
Sure.
to order a block of 600 books at a time. And that can cost you, you know, a few $1,000s if you're not rolling in dough. That's a lot of money.
So I've written my book. It's
Yep.
been published. How do I promote it? How come I'm not going to be on Oprah pushing my book in the book? Oprah
I
Book
thought I
Club?
was. I sent Oprah a copy of my book, and
You
you know
did?
what?
Good for you.
She sent it back. No, it wasn't her, but her office says we do not accept unsolicited manuscripts. In other words, if they want your book, they're going to contact you.
Yeah.
But not everybody's like that. There are some places where you can send your book.
Okay.
But publicity-wise, you know, the local media is a wonderful outlet.
Yeah.
They're always willing to work with local people. And you have you start small with your local library. And you might call the library and say, hey, I just published my book. Here's a couple of copies you can put in your inventory. And of course, they'll quality check them to make sure that
Yep.
there's no obscenity or
Sure.
things that they might object to. And, well, I don't even know if they do that anymore, but it can't be too bad, I suppose. And then they put it on the shelf, and then you can ask your library to set up a book signing for you.
A meet and greet type
Yeah.
of thing. Yep. And you do a little talk along with that.
You start out, you have to do that.
But you did something nice. Tell the folks you have a PowerPoint presentation. now.
Yeah, just recently I got myself a nice digital projector. And I thought, well, it'd be nice if people could actually see pictures from the book, you know, as I was going through. So, I mean, I've got tons of pictures in here from that era. And so I'm able to kind of tell my story and go along with some slides, which makes it nice.
And could you also dictate hard copy or soft bound?
Yes. Yeah, I ordered hard copy,
Yeah.
hardcover and soft cover. But one thing I want to touch on now that's even more important with self-publishers is the Kindle option and the ebook option. Here's a way to get your feet wet for no cost at all.
Tell us about it.
Well, they have page after page of instructions on Amazon Kindle. If you have an Amazon account, you can go and read these, how do I get my book on Kindle pages. Tells you, again, it's like doing your income taxes if you can follow directions to the T.
But you just turn a lot of people off. It's like doing your income taxes, Tom. Is it a little bit easier than that?
But you know, I went through 2 basic courses, and they taught you, read the question again.
Yeah.
What does it say? It doesn't say what you're thinking it says. It's exactly the way
So
it's
with the
worded.
Kindle, though, you're uploading the file still, but you're not paying for the books.
And you can actually make your book available on Kindle and get paid for it.
Okay, so that brings to the next question. How do you get paid? Should I buy the second home in the Bahamas?
Yeah, for me. Well, actually, they'll send you a check every month.
Yeah.
If you, I think right now their minimum is $75. Once your royalties equal $75, and it might be wrong, I don't know, it's around that.
But there's a step price.
Then all at once. So it might go months and months before you get a check.
And they take care of the financing for you. I mean, the accounting and all that work for you.
Well, they'll send you a 1099
Yeah.
or at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know, it's a royalty income.
So the book's published. You're doing your own promotion. You're on Kindle. You have an audio version. What's the one mistake you want to tell somebody, the biggest mistake that people encounter when they self-publish a book?
Wow, I wish you told me that ahead of time. I don't know. Let me think. The biggest problem, I would say just don't get frustrated, because it took 4 years to put the first book up. And that was, 2 years down the road, I'm almost ready to say, the heck with this, I'm done.
Yep.
Because just when you think you've got things the way it looks pretty good, somebody else will look at it and say, yeah, it needs this or it needs that, or you look at it yourself and it's not exactly the way you want it.
And Diane, your wife, was probably the toughest editor you had to face.
Oh my
right?
God. She says, if I have to read that book one more time, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, Tom, is there a way that folks can contact you? They may have some questions about self-publishing, and they may want to contact you about the book. How do they do that?
They can feel free to email me at theconstantoutsider.com. I have an email address there. It's TC's Knickknack, just the initials, TCSNICNAC at theconstantoutsider.com. I'll get that email, and I'll be happy to answer questions for them.
Or just go to theconstantoutsider.com
Yeah, and hit the
website.
contact me form.
And you've done some things in the public, too, about self-publishing, right? Have you?
Yeah, I think Alberta
Sequoia,
Sequoia, and I put on a self-publishing kind of a workshop. And I know she's done that with her group, Authors Without Borders.
I got to ask you before we go, because I just like the book so much. The book, folks, again, it talks about Tom's first book. It's the real Tom as opposed to the fictional Tom. But there's a great story. I know Whitey Bulger always seems to be in the news. And then when the movie comes out, we'll see who plays Whitey Bulger. But tell us about the gas pumps. What happened? Well, and Tom was the proprietor of the Emerson gas station and repair body shop in South Boston, right in the midst of South Boston. And this was right during the gas crunch.
Yeah, one afternoon when we used to have lines that ran all the way down the street past the post office in South Boston. And they'd have to have people stand there with a sign, no gas or $2 limit or whatever. So this particular day I had a $2 limit sign up on the front of my building.
But tell us how much a gallon of gas was. Someone
Well, it's
saying $2
about,
limit.
I'm trying to think. I think it was like 50 or 60 cents a gallon back then in the early 70s, But after that shortage, it went up to like 87 cents a gallon. Boy, we love those days again, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, this big Oldsmobile pulls in, and the guy barks out, "Fill it up." And he's wearing a hat. He's got his hat like
So you
pulled
can't
down
see
a
it.
little. Well, I could see his eyes.
Yeah.
Never forget those eyes.
Yeah.
And he says, "Fill it up." And I'm 20 years old. I'm full of what.
Yeah.
And I'm in a bad mood because I've been dealing with these stupid gas lines all day long. So I bark out at the guy, "Hey, pal, can't you see? There's a $2 limit there, All at once, he pulls out a gun and sticks it in my face, like right where you are, right there. I had a gun like that.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll give you some gas, right? So I turned and I started walking to the back of the car. I had a guy in my office. It was the very first day a friend had volunteered to watch over me with a gun because he knew we were having all kinds of trouble. A gas jockey had just been murdered at another station a week or so prior to this. So my friend, a World War II veteran, says, "I'll stay in your office and I'll watch over you." Well, Whitey puts his head out the window like this. It was Whitey Bulger, by the way. I didn't know it. I don't think it would have changed anything, and I didn't care who people were. But he's looking at me walk to the back of the car, and he's got the gun like this. My friend comes out the door, and he goes like that, so he's pointing his gun. Whitey got caught off guard, right? So he whips himself back in the window. He must have had the car in gear, and he just zoomed away without even looking forward, and he actually caught his hat in the window, the electric window. I could see it get caught in the window as he drove down the street. We were laughing. I said, "Did you see that guy take off? His hat was stuck in the window."
Whitey's hat.
Yeah. So, shortly after that, I mean, we always had vandalism at the shop. There might even be bullet holes in the doors sometimes. People would just drive by and shoot. That was Southie back then. But I came in one morning and the gas pumps were plowed down to the ground. Somebody had smashed into them.
Those big old fat gas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them, they just saw on the news the other day, somebody hit the pump and it exploded. Did you see that? Thank God it didn't happen at my place, because I had 3-decker, made kindling wood, these 3-decker houses.
So the pumps were knocked flat to the ground.
Yeah, they were both smashed down, and I thought some drunk guy had hit it. So I'm standing there shaking my head, and my gas jockey lived across the street on the 3rd floor, and he came out. He says, "Tom," he says, "no, this was no accident." I says, "How do you know?" He says, "I was sitting in my window at 1 o'clock in the morning having a cigarette. This black Oldsmobile pulled up, smashed into one of the pumps, and then backed up, went around the block, and came back and smashed into the other one."
That's no accident.
Yeah.
Tom. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that
You
was
put
payback.
one and one together, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Saragnano, folks, please catch his books. Author of 2 books, Lakeville resident, nice guy too. The Constant Outsider, I'm waiting for the movie, and 67 Cents. We'll wait for the first movie to come out. And again, how can folks, give us your website, that's probably the best place.
TheConstantOutsider.com, all one word.
And also, you'll be doing something in conjunction with Alberta very shortly. Just very quickly, the date, the time, and the...
February 6th at the Lakeville Library on Precinct Street. She put together a book that's compiled of 34 stories from alcoholics and substance abusers on how they kicked their habit and put their lives back on track. And she called me to contribute to it. Imagine that.
We're going to have to go to the Lakeville Library to see what you have to say, folks.
So I'm going to be a co-host at her function.
And she's another self-published author, and I've had Alberta on the program. I recommend her books also, folks.
Wonderful lady.
I think I've read them all except for the last one. I've got to get her. I've got to buy a last one. So, again, we're speaking with Tom Saragnano, local author, Lakeville gentleman, and please pick up his books, The Constant Outsider and 67 Cents. Tom, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much, Paul.
I want to say a quick goodbye here. This really ends this issue of Cranberry Country Journal. And thanks so much for watching. Again, we bring this program as a public service since 1993. I thought about it, gosh, I've been doing this for a long time, till I get it right, I guess. But it's our way of telling you what goes on in this wonderful towns and the various towns that make up this area we call Cranberry Country, USA. So if you have an idea for a guest, like Tom, or a topic, or just want to write a letter, you can do that. Snail mail, Cranberry Country Journal, Post Office Box 1234, Middleborough, Mass. 02346, or email. Real simple, cranberrycountry@hotmail.com. And I have to be honest, it may take me a little while to get back to you, but I will get back to you. Special thanks to Alan Russell, the folks over at LakeCAM, for making this possible. Alan does all the technical stuff. I don't ask him how he does it, but he even makes me look good sometimes. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Special thanks to Bill Zablowski, Ken Madigan, members of the Masonic Lodge here in Middleborough, and also to Tom Saragnano. Catch his speech along with Alberta Sequoia and get his books, folks. In the meantime, keep that Cranberry Country spirit in your heart. I'm Paul Lazarovich. Stay warm, too. Bye-bye.